So today I'm sitting with Mark Matthews. Mark, it's great to be with you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be here.
Mark, can you start just tell us about sort of the domain of ministry that you're involved with? What's your sphere?
Well, Dale, I've been working pretty much with people that are doing life tough, people that are battling and struggling with life for over 30 years, around about 13 of those years in a church context.
Okay, all right. So that's your 30 years.
More than 30, actually.
More than 30. You're holding your age well. Okay, so more than 30 years in the domain of working with people who are doing life tough. Tell us, so what are you actually doing on the ground? What's the nature of what you got going on the ground?
Yeah, well, I'm employed by the Crossway Baptist Church, and I'm overseeing and working in the National Coach Community Mentoring Team, plus working in a growing ministry called Empowered Faith Community. So that's at that national level, but also I'm working in a local context on the Mornington Peninsula in Victoria in an Empowered Faith Community down in Rosebud.
Okay. How long have you been involved with the BDC process?
I think around about 3 years when I first started to become engaged with BDC and BDC thinking.
And so someone who's been involved in ministry for 30 years and 3 years involved with building discipling culture, what's been the personal impact for you?
Well, I think a growing and deepening realisation, Dale, that every moment in life is purposeful for ministry. Yeah? So I've got the view that every beat of my heart and every thought that I have is purposeful for the kingdom and the expression and the extension of the kingdom. And for me, I think BDC has helped sort of solidify that in a deeper sort of way and crystallise for me ways of being able to express that, not just in my work and ministry role, but also just in a personal space in my local area where I live, in the street where I live, in the neighbourhood where I am. Yeah,
that's fantastic. Now, you're involved with a team of staff, and they're all involved in the BDC process as well?
Yep.
What's been the team effect?
Well, it's a great team. Let me say that from the outset. The team effect is that certainly with it, it's a small team. We've got a growing sense of understanding, as I said, for my own journey, that life is about expressing the kingdom and looking for the person of peace or people of peace in your local world. But also out of that, we've got 3 staff members on a team of 7 that are involved in an empowered faith community in their local area. So there's a growing sense of desire within the team to work into that discipling culture in a team context, but also in a personal space, in our own personal worlds.
Okay. Now, you're saying your domain, and you've been in it for over 30 years, is working with people who are doing life tough. Now, hundreds, in fact, it'd be thousands of churches around Australia would be working with people who are doing life tough.
Yep.
Classically in benevolent type of activity.
Yep.
Feeding the hungry, helping to house people, sense of community, care, all those sorts of very, very good things.
Yeah, fantastic.
You're talking about an empowered faith community. What's the difference?
Well, for me, the difference is moving out of a paradigm of benevolence and charity alone. I think that... yes, you're right. There are many churches that are involved in charitable and benevolence work, and that is a great thing, and it's a necessary thing. And indeed, you know, if you look at the history of welfare in Australia, it was birthed out of the church. Fantastic, yeah. But I think a lot of the church leaders that are involved in those sorts of ministries, they have a desire to see fruit. They have a desire to see the expression and the extension of the kingdom, but they're at a bit of a loss as to how to actually make that happen. So it's not a deliberate thing. It's just some unintentional thing that there's that desire, but what are the mechanics that make that work? And so certainly in the empowered faith community space for people doing life tough, I think that through BDC, we've been able to find some tools that help us move people into a discipling space. So discipling people to Christ, discipling people through Christ, and then empowering the very same people doing life tough, people that are doing it really hard, empowering those same people to be able to walk out into their own social space in their local community and find a person of peace for themselves.
Okay, so it's not just when they're together with you that the work you're doing is actually empowering them in the way they live their own lives well beyond when they're together with you.
Absolutely. So in the local context that I'm working in Rosebud in Victoria, we have a weekly community meal, but the meal really is a resource for us to be able to form relationships and build friendships with people. So the meal's the space where we can weekly work on developing friendships and relationships, look for our people of peace around the meal table, but then take them on a journey where we're equipping them. So I mentioned discipling to Christ, discipling through Christ, and then equipping them that once they've left the meal and the couch church session that happens after that, that they're walking out in their local community, in the rooming houses, the caravan parks, the beach foreshore, wherever it is that they are, the local shopping centre plaza, and they're looking for people of peace in their world, in the hope that they can shine the light of Christ to them and engage the same people in the same process.
Now, empowered faith community is three very specific words. So let's just break that down. So you're working with people doing life tough, and really some of them are genuinely living rough. They're homeless. So in what sense is this community that you've formed empowered?
So what we're trying to do is help people understand that once they've come to faith, they've joined the family on mission. So they've got a role to play. So I think many of the community meals and charitable benevolent sort of programs that are around that I'm aware of work from a perspective that the people that come are in there from the perspective of being a customer or a consumer of a service. So what we want to do is create opportunities and moments for people to participate and become owners. And we're of the view that if people develop a sense of ownership of the community that they're in, that they'll find some sort of common ground and common cause, and in that they'll develop purpose and a commitment to, in the family on mission, a commitment to then express the culture and the character and the kingdom of heaven.
So do they actually become leaders in this community?
Yes, they do. They do. And
what sort of things are they able to lead?
Well, we have people that are contributing to the cooking and the preparing of meals, and in that space they're being mentored, I might add, by spiritual parents in that space. We have a role for people to host the night's event, so we train people up to host.
Like literally standing up the front speaking to people.
Yep. Take the microphone, host the event. Keep it all coordinated. We have people who are trained and equipped to deliver devotional messages through their own testimony, so through their story, so that as people in the same social space are sitting around the couch church after the meal, they can look at this person that's delivering the devotional testimony and they can see, oh, hang on, I can actually relate to this person. That can be me, So I could deliver the devotional message, the pastor or the elders could deliver that, but we want to empower and equip people from within the community to deliver that. We're training and equipping people also to learn how to pray for one another and then minister to each other in practical ways outside of the Wednesday event itself.